A
little old and wrinkly? A little closer to death?
Just a little bit. Oh, Peggy
I like
Carter.
the salt and pepper in your hair.
So how's it been? How have you been?
I've been good. I've been killing it in life, killing it in movies. We've been seeing a lot of movies lately, and we're going to talk about a ton today, and I'm excited.
I'm excited for our topic today. Also, I'm excited because we've started something new, although everyone else will already know that we've been doing this for a while.
Yep.
And that's movie pillow fights. It's really movie pillow talk.
Yeah.
But hey.
We fight a little.
A little.
But more in like a sisterly way.
Right.
Yes. And there's some pillow fights in there. And we are in a bed together. Whoa.
That's right.
Whoa. Sexual.
We take your movie question of the week and maybe we'll answer it. And so look for our tweets that say, hey, we're looking for questions. And maybe we'll answer your question.
Hashtag movie pillow fights.
Movie pillow fights, guys.
Movie
All right.
Pillow fights.
So here's what we do on the show. Here's how it goes. This is called 6 Degrees of Feature Film, in case you didn't know. Mm-hmm. And we take one movie and we show how 6 other films link up to that movie. So that's it. Yep. They share a common link of some sort, maybe an actor, director, theme, a scene that might be similar.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes we go off on a tangent about movies. Sometimes we talk about 20 different movies versus just 6. That's more just me, yelling about like The Mummy and stuff like that. It tends to happen every episode. But
I mean, we talk about 7 films in total for sure, but we might go and talk about more, obviously.
Yeah, for sure. Sure. That's the whole point, is let's talk about a bunch of films that kind of relate to each other. Not really, but Stacy wants to talk about them.
Yes. So today we are going to be discussing Civil War.
Oh my gosh.
Which just came out recently.
Yep.
May 6th, 2016. Political interference in the Avengers' activities causes a rift between former allies Captain America and Iron Man. This is directed by Anthony and Joe Russo and written by Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely. McFeely. Anytime I see McFeely, I think of McFeely. No, I think of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
Oh, okay.
Mr. McFeely. I swear he was like the postman or something.
I don't know. I never really watched Mr. Rogers.
Well, now Mr. Rogers, they have a new thing. It's called Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood. They've it's like by the Rogers Foundation.
Oh.
So it's kind of taken over. I feel like the reason for that was so that way they could have an animated version that could just continue forever.
Yeah.
Rather than, because you can just replace the voice, which they're going to have to because the kid that voices Daniel Tiger is young and hasn't gone through all of
his balls
manhood.
Haven't dropped yet, you mean?
That's right. So
okay
we know that there'll be some replacements at some point.
Gotcha. Okay.
Anyways, back to
Civil War and balls dropping.
That's right. Starring Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr., Scarlett Johansson, Sebastian Stan, Anthony Mackie, Don Cheadle, Jeremy Renner. And I could just continue for days and days and days.
There's so many people in this.
There are. The budget was $250 million. It's already made that.
Plus more is going to be more. It's only been out one weekend. It's still going to kill it.
Came in at $181 million first weekend. So, I mean, yeah, we're doing well to get our budget
We're
back.
doing well.
Well.
Were you going to say good and then start to say well?
Maybe.
Did you have a Mean Girls thing going on there?
That happens sometimes. There was what did I say that on some other show years ago? I said horrible because I thought I wanted to say horrible and awful.
Horrible.
And it just came out as horrible.
Horrible. I like that.
So
I like that a lot.
Okay, so can we talk spoilers or
Yeah,
what?
for sure. I mean, this episode is going to come out way past when the movie itself has come out. So
this is like July.
Yeah. So we're solid. We're okay. I think we should talk spoilers. Now, first of all, I think it's important to note how you saw a movie. Like, what was your mood? Who did you go with?
Okay.
What time? Like, especially with a big blockbuster like this, because that can affect how you see the film.
Absolutely.
How did you see this? Were you with the kiddos? What's going on?
Okay, I was just with my husband. It was on a Friday. We could not go to the earliest show. A lot of times my husband and I, if we want to see a film, we'll go to the earliest show on Friday because then he could go to work after. But we couldn't do that this time because there was like a Mother's Day celebration at school. So I had to go to that. And then so we went around like 1:30. And by the time we got out, it was like time to go pick up the kids, like right now. So that there's a little bit of a time crunch at the end, but That's our new thing is seeing them Friday mornings, which I loved seeing things like the night. I used to like the midnight showings with like the Uber fans.
Oh yeah, I used to go to all the Harry Potter movies at midnight, everything. Yeah.
So I do miss that aspect of like being in a packed theater with people that care about a movie, because when you're not in that, then you get kind of the casual moviegoer, which isn't necessarily your best audience member. But and this audience was fine. That it was just kind of, I mean, there were a lot of like younger kids that must have like either were homeschooled or didn't have school that day. So
they probably just skipped school to go. I'd take my kids out of school to see a movie. Be like, guys, okay, the 5th Avatar movie is coming out. We got to go at 10 a.m. Wednesday. We got to go. It's the only time we can fit in.
All right. So what about you? What was your?
So I saw it with my boyfriend and his married friends. So we kind of had a little double date going on. When was it? Thursday night, 9:30.
Okay.
Peak
so
time.
There you go.
Huge theater. We were in Glendale, I think, at the Americano.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Americana.
At the Americana at the theater in there. Yes. It was awesome. It was epic. The vibe was just, I mean, you know when you try and sneak snacks into the theater in your big purse and like they don't let you because maybe they have a flashlight and they say, ma'am, can you open your purse? And I'm like, yeah, sure, just a second, hold on. And then I had to go and throw everything away. It kind of ruined that beginning part of it for me because that happened.
That's not what they're looking for. You know that, right?
I thought they were looking for stuff. Wait, what are they looking for?
They're looking
like
for
guns?
Weapons. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh.
I'm sure you could have gotten in with your snacks, by the way.
Dang, I thought he was like trying to see who was like sneaking in some hot Cheetos because you know Stacy was doing it.
You're like, you don't sell these at the concession stand.
So you don't have my flavor.
I my own in.
You don't have anything. But yeah, so
I'm
saw
diabetic. I need this.
I need this insulin. So yeah, so I saw it double date, peak time.
Okay.
And you know what? Okay, what was your initial thoughts on the film? Like, what did
Long?
Yeah, it was like 2.5 hours long.
Way too long for me.
And the beginning for me really dragged.
Yes,
like the first
act.
I was like,
first act. I was like, come on, let's move
like
it.
UN Senate hearing meetings, talking at tables a lot. I was like, I was just like not feeling it. And then it gets to that middle fight scene at the airplane hangar, and you're like, I'm in this. Okay,
yes,
let's do this. Let's go. And that was perfect. That was exactly what I wanted from this movie.
That was perfect.
It wasn't like dark and intense. It was like fun and adventurous, and I laughed, and I was like scared at moments, and like Ant-Man was like flinging people around with his giant man, whatever.
That was
Craziness.
Great.
Yeah, I dug that fight scene. And then I love Bucky. I love him and Captain's relationship I have since The Winter Soldier. Mm-hmm. And I loved that continued in the story. But it was the whole thing of, like, the political red tape. And, like, that's the whole reason for everything and the subject matter. And,
the villain itself was not big enough for me.
Yeah,
like,
it was
the
just
stakes
a guy.
as to why he was doing what he was doing just didn't. That, for me, was a little weak.
Yeah, just a guy lost his family. A bunch of people lost his family.
Right. So I'm going to make you guys try to kill each other.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way I'm going to bring you down.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought, well, we can get into Winter Soldier in just a minute, but like I thought Winter Soldier had a much bigger villain presence.
For sure.
And was more interesting in that manner.
Can I just say, okay, the whole thing with this movie where people are like, these superheroes are vigilantes and they're saving us, but they're causing lots of damage. Who gives a shit? It would have been way more damage. Do you want like the bad guys to win? Like, do you not care that there's a bunch of villains running around and they're trying to destroy the city and the Avengers are trying to help? And yeah, buildings fall down and people die, but it's like they were trying. You know, like it would have been a lot worse if they weren't there. I don't understand the argument and why people were upset in the film.
I do, because I worked for the government, so I know that the government just wants to be able to control and to say that, so that way they can, you know, be not necessarily the responsible party, but be like, well, we didn't authorize that, so now you're going to have to, you know, come forward for your crimes against us. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. Anyways.
Well, I mean, I kind of get the government's aspect of it. Like
they want to be in control.
They want to be in control, but it's like the people. Like you have the mom that's like, you killed my son, and then the villain is talking about you killed my family. I'm like, what? Like, I understand that you're upset. I know they're upset that they died, but that they would blame the Avengers. Like, shouldn't you be blaming Loki? Shouldn't you be blaming Ultron? You know, like, I don't get why they aren't angry with the actual villain. Do they not know what happened?
Because they're angry at everyone.
Yeah. Okay.
But we only see it from the one side. So that's kind of how it goes.
I guess, yeah.
One thing I did like in this movie, in like the third-ish, I think it was the third act, when Captain America and Iron Man are fighting, you know, one-on-one, and Captain America's down, and then he gets up, and I was like, I know he's going to say his line. I could do this all day. And then he did, and I was like, yes. I thought that was great. I was all about it.
I also love that they're doing the whole romance thing with Vision and Scarlet Witch.
Sure.
I think that's great, because I know in the comics they're married for a time or something, and I like that they're trying to bring humanity to Vision, as well as, you know, Scarlet Witch was like the Debbie Downer in Ultron. She was like super duper serious and kind of depressed.
Yeah, and I only saw half of Ultron, so I don't really know.
She was like super bitter, and she was all about causing pain.
Let's talk about that accent, though.
Okay, her accent disappeared.
It's terrible.
Her accent
comes and goes.
Yeah.
I'm like, could we just not do it? And then, because is it needed?
I mean, she's from Sokovia or whatever.
But
it's
that
supposed
doesn't
to be like
mean
Russian-ish.
anything. It's like a fictional area. They could have...
Yeah. It could just be like, kind of Americanized. But in Ultron, she had a thick-ass accent. It was like...
Well, whatever's going on.
For 3 days, we were under my bed. Like, so thick I couldn't understand her, really. And then this one, she's like... talking American. I'm like, what? So I'm sure that they heard the comments on the accent. We're like, okay, maybe dial it down. But they should have just kept it going, because it doesn't make sense that it's now disappeared. Like, I know it wasn't good, but it like her accent changed. I'm like, what's going on? I didn't understand it.
That was something that I was like,
yeah, comes and goes. Random words would be accentized.
We should get into some of our other films. From this, we're branching off into other Captain America films.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about, let's just talk about them kind of side by side. So we're talking about Captain America, the First Avenger, as well as Captain America, Winter Soldier.
Yes.
So First Avenger, when it first started, I was like, whoa, Chris Evans, whoa. What is going on? What is happening? You are small and scary.
Yes.
And then I was like, what? How? I just didn't understand how this was possible. And I'm like, okay, so I looked it up, and it's like a mix of certain things. Obviously, he was skinnier. But then they had a ton of computer work and body doubles. So that was helpful in me, like, realizing, like, what was happening.
Yeah.
Because it just looks so awkward.
Because they did, like... You know what, though? I felt like it looked flawless. I was like, he looks like a tiny little scrawny boy. Like, I knew it was, like, we know it's Chris Evans, so we know he's not that small. And I think that hurts it when you're trying to, like, be like, oh, this looks real, you know, because we know it's not real. But I feel like if we hadn't known this actor, it would have been like, oh, it's like a small little guy. Like, we would have believed it. I think it was beautifully done. But it was, like, it's awkward because you know that Chris Evans is, like, a huge guy. He's like 6'1", big, built. He's your dream man.
Yes,
I know.
Of course.
I know. Are you getting all hot and bothered talking about Chris right now? Chrissy Chris?
When am I not?
Christopher Robert Evans. He's gorgeous. But yeah, I think it looked great. And my brother, I remember, was like blown away by the first half of this movie. And then he felt like it kind of fell apart with Red Skull and like the ending. But like that first part and him becoming Captain America, and you see this emergence of like this superhero that no one had seen before, because it was the 50s, and you know, the super soldier, it was like incredible. And so I loved that first half of the film, and then it kind of went away from me with the ending, and I was like not that into the last part of it, but the first part I was all about it.
Yeah, I liked the second act. So once he becomes Captain America, and then like he's doing these like little shows or whatever as Captain America,
his little propaganda thing.
Yeah, but then becomes an actual soldier and saves lives, and and figures out how he can actually use what he has been given to help others. So I like that aspect.
Also, Natalie Dormer.
Yeah.
She's in this, guy. She's
oh my gosh. That would be the part I would want.
Of course it would.
You're in for like 10 minutes, maybe at most. 5, I'd say.
The women of America need to thank you. What does she say? Something like that. And she's like, you've served your country. She wants to, she wants to thank him with a big old hump session.
She's kind of like her character in Game of Thrones, always after the king.
Yeah, she is. Because she knows that's how you get protection back in the day.
Yeah.
Is if you're with the strongest man. Because as a woman, it was harder. But she was
harder.
like, I'm going to use what I got. And she did. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I liked that.
I'm like, what was her part even? Like, what was she? She was like a secretary?
Yeah, she was like a military secretary thing.
Okay.
You know what? Okay. Do you ever like go through these fantasies or like you're thinking about like if I lived in this decade during this time, what would I be doing? I think if I was in like the 40s back in the day and it was wartime, usually everyone had some kind of job, that helped serve the country at that time. I would want to be like a secretary in the military. Like I would want to start like some women became nurses, some women, would like work in factories or they would work on like all the airplanes and everything. I think I want to be like, but I would want to be like in it, I'd want to be like sent to Paris, whatever, like sent on assignment. So yeah, I'd want to be, because they can send you on assignments. Those women traveled all over the world. They were assigned in different posts. I would be all about it. I would love that.
Yeah, I think it depends on how old you are when the call is made. Like, we need people to help.
Oh, yeah.
And where you are in life, just in general. Like, because, sure, like being a nurse, like I could see myself being a nurse or, obviously being a teacher, because that's something that is my generation or like goes through the generations of my family. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't really gone to war like that, since World War II. I mean, we're obviously like active military duty now all over the world, but we haven't had like a worldwide war like that where the whole country is like, everybody needs to pitch in and help right now.
Right.
Like there's not a single person that's not involved in some capacity. So I don't even know what that time would have been like, but it's pretty fascinating to me.
I did like that what they decided at the end of the First Avenger, and that was to make it so that way Captain America could be in modern times.
Right.
So when we have the Winter Soldier as our next film, it makes sense that, he was frozen and now we are getting him out. My question is he immortal? Like,
this is
can he not die?
Yeah,
ever?
I don't know. Does he not age?
Is there no kryptonite? Like, what is his kryptonite? Is there something that could bring him down?
Yeah, because
anything.
Because during fights he gets tired and he can get injured, and you see he'll have like little cuts on his forehead and stuff. Like you see that he can be physically, like drained. So I don't know, because just freezing people doesn't keep him alive. Because he was just frozen in the ice. Like, you'd think he'd die of hypothermia, but he didn't, so maybe he's immortal. I don't know how it works.
So Winter Soldier came out April 4th, 2014, and was also directed by Anthony and Joe Russo as well. And I think this is the best Marvel film.
This is my favorite Marvel movie, is The Winter Soldier.
And then I'd say Civil War, followed by maybe Guardians of the Galaxy, because I did like Guardians.
I would really,
Yeah.
Civil War is right behind Winter Soldier. For me, it's like the Winter Soldier, and then probably it's so hard because Avengers and Guardians for me, and they're very similar in the fact that you're introducing this team of people, and it's you know what I mean, like it's that like feel good movie where you're like the teams, the gangs all together, and let's start a thing, and that's great.
It's true.
And so those are kind of there for me, and then it's Iron Man, and then probably Age of Ultron, and then on and on and on. And I love the Thor films because I love Loki. I loved Thor 2: The Dark World because it had more Loki in there. Yeah. And he's not just the bad guy anymore. He's kind of trying to help people out. And I love Tom Hiddleston.
I have not seen all of the Marvel movies, so I have holes, as I normally do. But I know there's been 13 films. And the other day, Max Landis had tweeted out, like, listen, there's been 13 films. Let's do this. And it was like pictures of female comic book heroes. And I'm like, yes, Max Landis, let's do this.
Yes, Max Landis, let's.
And I'm like, and then he did this other one, like, that was like a tweet that was like about She-Hulk. And I was like, you're like writing a love letter to me right now, Max Landis. Please, can you write this?
When are you going to play She-Hulk?
I should.
You should. You can do it.
Yep. I'm getting back into that acting game. So
you are. And guys, you know what? My girl Brienne here, she's been killing it in the workout game. Her body looks good.
Oh, please.
She has some photos coming out. I'm super excited for her. I'm very proud of her. And I mean, you're going to kill it. You really are. Well, and you could be a superhero.
Thanks.
You're a super mom. You're a super friend. You're a super podcast host. And now you're going to be a super actress. Yes.
That's so nice of you. I will say it's all an illusion. There are tricks that you can do to make your body look even better.
Every woman knows tricks.
Yes. Tricks that aren't even necessarily Photoshop tricks, like that I didn't even know about.
What tricks are they? Can you share this wisdom with me after the show so that no one knows?
After the show, I'll tell you how you can make your stomach look flatter.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. I'll tell you.
Do you just like pull the skin down below and no one shows? Okay.
There's actual like equipment involved. Okay, so anyways, Winter Soldier. One thing that like didn't transfer for me from Winter Soldier to Civil War was, and I don't even know her name, but it was like the girl that was like supposedly a nurse.
The chick,
but she wasn't really a nurse. She really worked for the company.
Yeah. Emily,
she's like
something. She's on Revenge.
Emily Van Camp. Yeah. So her transferring from that movie to this movie as the love interest, like, just didn't. I was like, wait, who is that girl?
Yeah.
Like, wait, why did I not remember her when I saw the movie like 2 days before? Like, that's unfortunate that I can't remember. And maybe I just block her out of my mind because it's like, oh, Chris Evans with another girl.
Yeah.
I'm just going to block that out. Pretend that didn't happen.
And it's Peggy's niece. That's kind of weird.
That is a little strange.
He loved Peggy. And now he's
got
like,
to move on. I mean, Peggy's old.
I know. Oh,
still had a fondness.
Peggy died. Peggy's dead.
I know. Well, she was like 100. I mean,
I know.
Close, getting up there.
I know. Can I just say, I never really felt the love interest there. Like, I looked at them more as like, friends. You know, they respected each other. They knew what needed to be, done to get the job going. But I never looked at it like, oh, they were going to end up together. They were in love. And then how he's like super hung up on her and like devastated when she died. And I know that's his friend. And that's someone, it was like the last person that was alive when during the time that he grew up. I like understand that. But I never really bought the whole love interest.
You're talking about with Peggy?
Yeah, with Peggy.
Okay. Because I didn't buy it with her, nor did I buy it with this girl, Emily. Or whatever her name is in the movie.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's a testament to writing issues, or maybe we just don't have time to develop this because we have to do other things.
Yeah.
And then, but then it begs the question as to why even have it in there anyway. Let's just have it as like a camaraderie sort of thing. Like, I'm helping you out.
I think it was like, for me, like the love story between Bucky and Captain America is more important than his love interest with any woman. And also, they've never really set him up as a romantic or sexual guy. He's almost this like Boy Scout asexual person. You know, like you never really see him with pursuing women. Women pursue him, but he is like very hesitant to it. Do you think he's still a virgin? I guess he is. He hasn't had time to be dating.
I don't know.
He was before he became Captain America, and then he became Captain America, and he didn't really have time. I guess so. Yeah. Oh, who wants to take Chris Evans' virginity?
Well.
I don't know. I think you want to sign up for the job.
Sure. I mean, if there is a job to sign up for, I will.
Okay.
Winter Soldier was nominated for Best Visual Effects for an Oscar, so that's pretty cool.
Yes, it was.
For them.
Well deserved.
And Chris Evans and Scarlett Johansson wrote some of their own dialogue together for the scenes that they had.
Oh, and their dialogue was great. Their relationship was great.
All right. So one other thing that I liked about this movie was that Winter Soldier is that Robert Redford wanted to do it because his grandchildren like Marvel films. And so he wanted them to see him in one. And I thought, oh, that's nice. Yeah. I also thought it was nice that him and Scarlett Johansson were both in this film. And the last time they were together was for The Horse Whisperer, which I think came out in 1998. Yes. Correct.
Wait, but I thought after that they even did The Perfect Score together, because that's like 2001.
Okay.
I think they did The Perfect Score.
I don't know. Well, fake facts.
Something.
We'll have
fake
to look
facts.
that
Hashtag fake facts. We never look things up. We always just assume.
That's right.
And then we just say what we think.
So far we've talked about Captain America Civil War.
Yep.
Captain America the First Avenger.
Yes.
As well as Captain America Winter Soldier.
Yes.
And now we are going to branch off. I'm going to take the First Avenger, and Stacy is going to take the Winter Soldier.
Yes.
So my link off of the First Avenger is Chris Evans' film.
What? Shut up. That's my link too.
Of course it is.
Oh my gosh.
Because Chris Evans is the best.
She is amazing.
Hooray!
Yay!
More Chris Evans films. Maybe we'll have crossover. Who knows? So the films I brought, and I'm just going to say both of them right now, and then we can talk about it. Snowpiercer and Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Oh, I'm so excited to talk about Snowpiercer. It's one of my faves.
And you've seen both, yes?
I have not seen Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
So I'll tell you a little bit about that.
Okay.
But Snowpiercer, let's start with Snowpiercer, which came out July 11th, 2014, set in the future of 2031, I'll have you know, which is not that far away.
Nope.
Where a failed climate change experiment kills all life on the planet except for a few lucky people who boarded the Snowpiercer, a train that travels around the globe where a class system emerges. And that train never stops. It continually goes.
It has to keep going, otherwise it'll freeze.
Perpetual motion.
Yep.
Directed by Bong Joon-ho and also written by him as well as Kelly Masterson, and starring Chris Evans, Song Kang-ho, Tilda Swinton, Jamie Bell, Octavia Spencer, and John Hurt is also in this, and John Hurt was also in Civil War. So there you go.
Yep.
And Ed Harris. The budget was $40 million, and the box office made $86.8 million. So it made its money back. Not too much over that, but
and you know
pretty
what?
decent.
Because they made it like several years ago, and then finally released it in like 2014. So it was a while before it made its way to the general mainstream movie going population, and I'm glad it did, because this is one of my favorite Chris Evans films. It's one of my favorite films of 2014. I thought it was absolutely incredible.
Yeah, he personally contacted the director to be like, I want to be in this film.
Yeah.
And the director was kind of like, I'm a little hesitant to put you in the film, mainly because of your muscular physique. Because if you're going to be in this film, you really should be more scrawny.
Yeah. They don't have any food.
So
all they eat is weird protein bars.
They just did their best with costuming to make him not necessarily seem as big as he actually is. So I thought it was, I didn't think he looked scrawny. He didn't look like the Machinist or anything like that. But I thought that they did a fine job of covering that up if that's what they were going for. Yeah. And I didn't even think of that necessarily.
He just looked kind of dirty. Like, he still looks like Chris Evans. He looked like Captain America on, like, a bad day. If he has, like, a bad hangover, which he can't get hungover because he can't get drunk.
Right.
But, yeah, he just, the looks were pretty good. The looks of everyone else were incredible. Yes. Okay, Tilda Swinton.
Whoa, Tilda.
Whoa, Tilda.
That role was made for a male. I want to say John C. Reilly. I could be wrong about that. I feel like they wanted him. And then something came about and they were like, you know what? Tilda Swinton's going to be the one that kills this. So let's just do it. But let's keep the dialogue the same. So it's very masculine dialogue. Yeah. And they speak about her as though she's like a masculine presence.
And she has like, there's a moment when like her teeth and everything, her dress, she does this thing with she has a whole speech, a monologue around a shoe, and like, it is incredible everything that happens, and you're so just like weirded out by her presence. But then she's Tilda Swinton, so you're like staring at her and you can't stop staring at her, and every level they go through in the train gets weirder and weirder as they progress towards the front. My favorite scene has to be when they barge in on the room of kindergartners, And Allison Pill, is that her name? She's the teacher.
She is.
She's so crazy in this scene.
She's my favorite teacher probably on screen, just because like you don't realize how crazy she actually is
until something happens. Oh shit. Things go down. That was one of my favorite moments, and I was shocked, and I was like, this is perfect. That's one of those moments where like it goes in a direction you don't know, and you're like, if it hadn't gotten this direction, it would have been a normal movie. But this happened, and now I'm like so into this.
In the beginning of the film, when they come to the back of the train to retrieve children, what did you think they were going to be doing with those children?
I thought it was some kind. I guess I thought it was like a pedophile kind of thing.
Yes,
like I thought they wanted like little children lovers.
I thought
Who knows?
So too.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no,
like, no,
kids.
no.
Don't go. And then the reveal, I was like, well, that sucks. But at least it's not the other.
Yeah.
At least it's not pedophilia.
Yeah.
So I'm probably just as abusive and bad.
Yeah, for sure.
And I feel like it was revealed that Tilda Swinton was one of those kids at some point, right?
Wait, I didn't get
I thought that was like, that she was one of those kids at one time.
I did not know that. When was that revealed?
I don't know. I feel like I figured that out.
Because they've been on the train 20 years? What was it, 16? No, because they've been on the train since Jamie Bell was a baby. So that would have been almost 20 years. And then I feel like Tilda Swinton's in her 40s. So then
that
20 years. It might not work out. But that would have been super fascinating if it was true.
True.
Yeah.
It should
be. It should be. That should have worked out. I love everything in this film.
Also, Jake Gyllenhaal tried out for this film as well as Dustin Hoffman. Both of those people in the, like, if Jake Gyllenhaal was the Chris Evans part and let's say Dustin Hoffman was the Ed Harris part, I think that would have also worked out nicely too.
Me too, yeah. And I love Jake Gyllenhaal more than I love Chris Evans. I feel like he's my Chris Evans.
Okay.
To your Chris Evans, or vice versa.
I'll give you that.
So I would have loved to see it. Because this is another, like, Jake Gyllenhaal picks very interesting roles. I just saw Demolition, and I feel like Snowpiercer is a movie that he would want to do. So I'm surprised that he didn't get it, honestly, because he does movies kind of like this all the time, like these weird, strange movies, and he'll do like Enemy and all these kind of like strange things. So I'm kind of surprised that the director was like, you know what? Yeah, we'll go with Captain America.
Maybe Chris Evans lobbied for it more than Jake. So
maybe if you want to roll more, sometimes they give it to you because they're like, okay, they'll kill it in this. They'll work hard. Maybe they'll take a pay cut.
Maybe
just to get the role.
So Scott Pilgrim so we'll go on now from Snowpiercer to Scott Pilgrim versus the World, which came out August 13th, 2010. Scott Pilgrim must defeat his new girlfriend's 7 evil exes in order to win her heart. Directed by Edgar Wright, written by Michael Bacall as well as Edgar Wright, and starring Michael Cera, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Kieran Culkin, Chris Evans, Anna Kendrick, Allison Pill again, Brandon Routh, and Jason Schwartzman. That's right. I almost forgot about Jason Schwartzman. How was that? The budget is kind of like, we're not quite sure. Could be anywhere from $60 million to $90 million. Only made 47.7 at the box office. I feel like this is kind of more of a sleeper hit in terms of like probably doing better via VOD or DVD and stuff like that, rentals. But very video gamey. Probably my favorite like video game-esque movie. And I just love so the fight scenes themselves were written like a musical. Like this movie was written like a musical, and the fight scenes were like the musical part of it. Like this is where we would break into song. We're not going to break into song. We're going to break into a fight instead. And I really liked that aspect. And just when he goes to defeat one of the exes and they just burst into coins, like that's just awesome. I don't know. I was like, I had never seen anything like that before, and I thought, wow, that is an amazing choice.
I know I need to see this film. It's been on my list forever. I just haven't gotten to it yet. Then I'll watch random documentaries about like the royal bedchambers on Netflix instead of watching this, which is what I need to be doing. But that's what happens in my mind and in my life. That's a real thing. There's a documentary on Netflix called Secrets of the Royal Bedchamber, and it's all about how like people's giant beds and the evolution of how the bedroom is kind of the office of. Okay, I'm not even gonna get into it. Okay, but you just need to watch it. It's pretty fascinating. But I should be watching this film. I know I should. I'm gonna get to it. Everyone, calm down.
Okay. So the 7 evil exes. Obviously, she has 7 of them. One of them is a female, and the others. I only remember a few. I remember Chris Evans because his part is pretty memorable. He's like an actor, but he's kind of like, I don't know. He's the one that I'd be like, well, of course you need to win over Michael Cera. Yeah. But doesn't
he have like intense sideburns?
Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, he does. Okay. And then Jason Schwartzman was another one that I remember, and there was one other one. Oh, I've forgotten it. Anyways. So those were the main ones that I was like, oh yeah, I like those exes. I would probably keep those around. Brandon Routh, that's the other one. He was probably more the standout of all of them.
Really?
For me.
Oh, I love him.
The way his character was just hilarious, and I was like, this is such a departure from Superman. Like,
why isn't he in more things? He is so handsome, and I think he's super, super charming and likable. I want him to get a show on the CW or something. What's he doing?
I don't know. Let's
Brandon,
find out.
Where you at, boo?
One of the things that happens in the film is Ramona asks Scott how old Knives is. Knives is like his good friend. And there's like a roulette wheel in his head of like possible responses to what how he's going to respond to her. And like whatever it lands on, that's what he's going to say. So here are the possible responses. Like, how old is Knives? How old is this girl? And his choices were, she's nobody, she's 40, idiot, no speak English, when's dinner, tell Pac-Man story, no you are, pass out, it was nothing, who her, and I gotta pee. I was like, those are pretty good.
What did he land on?
I don't remember.
Oh, Bree, come on.
It's probably like something like her actual age.
Oh, okay, got it. How old is she? Isn't she his age?
She's like his age, yeah.
She's like 19 or whatever. Yeah. Okay. Isn't there a girl? One of the exes is a girl?
Yeah, it's Mae Whitman, who was in Arrested Development.
Yeah.
So that's kind of funny that she was his girlfriend in Arrested Development. And now he's trying to overthrow her.
I know. That's super funny. Also, what's her face? Anna Kendrick is in this.
Yes, she's like his sister.
Yeah. And that's how her and Edgar Wright met up, and they dated for like 2 years.
What?
Yes.
Didn't know it.
Yes. And they were like super in love, but then he like lives in London. It was like too much to do. But I kind of liked that couple, and I want them to get back together. Just saying. Yeah.
All right, so that's what I did. I did Snowpiercer and Scott Pilgrim vs. the World as my Chris Evans films.
Nice.
What Chris Evans films have you brought?
I'm going to bring some unusual choices. Most people know him as his current, at least in the last 5 years, movies. But I'm going to do... the first one is Not Another Teen Movie. Right. Came out in, I think, 2001.
Early 2000s.
Early 2000s. And of course, it's making fun of all these kind of like 90s teenage rom-coms, like high school films, like She's All That and Can't Hardly Wait.
Right.
And all those ones where it's like,
Varsity Blues.
Yeah, Varsity Blues. Unrealistic images of what teenagers go through in high school. And so they have all these homages and tropes in the film from those movies. And I just love that they're acknowledging it and lovingly making fun of it. It's not like this is stupid. It's like they have this one scene where they have a black character in the movie, and he's like the one black friend, right? And then they have another black character come in and walk into the party, and they both see each other, and he's like, come on, man, what do you... there's only supposed to be one. You know that, right? And then he's like, oh, man, I'm sorry. I thought I walked on the wrong set. My bad, brother. And they'll shake it. It's so funny. And they're just like, and it's the guy from Save the Last Dance.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Sean Patrick Thomas.
Yeah. So he makes a little cameo. And it's and Molly Ringwald makes a cameo in it. So they're making fun of 16 Candles and Pretty in Pink and all that. It's so cute. And they do the walkthrough. Like Chris Evans comes in, he plays Jake Weiler, very 90s heartthrob name, and will like walk into the school and like pause on a corner and pose, and then he has the photo of himself like on like the school has framed, And it's just super cute and hilarious. And they have like a naked girl in there, and it's making fun of American Pie. She's just naked the whole time. She's foreign, and like no one ever really acknowledges that she's naked. But she's wearing like a scarf. That's it, at a football game. And it's so
I gotta
funny.
see this. I have not seen it. I do know about Chris Evans in the whipped cream bikini.
He is in a whipped cream bikini in this movie, just like Varsity Blues. And then he turns around, and it's like a little banana is hanging out of his butt. Like, it is craziness.
I gotta see it. When I was in college, a friend of mine made up a musical that she performed at like the local college coffee house with, you know, some people from the theater school, which I was a part of. And hers was called Not Another College Musical. It was very sexual. Very sexual.
Nice.
You know, all about the Greek system and stuff like that, which was great.
Okay.
A lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
Nice.
There were some good songs. If I remember one, I'll sing it for you later. But I don't know if I'll remember any.
You better sing.
That was my big sister in the sorority. That was
her. Sweet.
That was her project that she worked on.
That's so cute. Don't you love when people in your life have fun things and you're so proud of them and you're like, look, that's my friend. They did that thing.
I know.
Oh, I love that. So yeah, it's hilarious, and it's just making fun of all those movies, but also acknowledging that it is a great genre and it is fun, and it's fine to just poke fun at yourself and just be cliche. It's okay because it's a movie. It's fine. So that's not another teen movie.
And
Chris
how
Evans,
big is his part in that? Is he
he's
through
the lead.
The whole thing?
He's the lead guy. Yeah. So he basically plays the Freddie Prinze Jr. to the whole premise of the movie is kind of the she's all that. Like, that's the main premise. And then the other movies that they're making fun of kind of have smaller parts in it, and it's like little things. But he wants to someone else makes a bet that he can't make this nerdy girl the popular girl. Okay. And so the girl that plays the Rachel Lee Cook Rachel Lee Cook character is, I don't know what else she's been in. She's a beautiful girl. They also make fun of Cruel Intentions too. Nice. He has like a super slutty Catholic sister, and she's like trying to bang him the whole time, and it's like crazy. But yeah, that's kind of the premise of the film. So he plays like the Freddie Prinze Jr. character. So he's the lead guy, and he's so funny. And you see him, and you're like, that's Chris Evans. He's like a major. And nowadays, you know, he's Captain America. He does incredible kind of indie films like Snowpiercer. He's this huge star, and then this is one of his first movies, and he's playing this like cliched guy, and you're like, what is Chris Evans doing in this movie? But he's hilarious. He's so charming. It's really, really funny. But it's like something that, you know, a lesser known actor would do, and he was a lesser known actor there. So it's fun to see him in this role, just kind of like let loose. It's great. My other movie that I picked is The Iceman. This movie stars my boy, one of my favorites, Michael Shannon, plays a true life hitman that worked for the mob and killed hundreds of people, but he was a family man. He had a wife, he had 2 daughters, and they thought he basically worked in like kind of the stocks and bonds, like currency trading and stuff like that. They had no idea that he was this like hitman for the mob, and he eventually was caught and went to prison, and they were just in shock, like, what? That's our dad. He goes to work every day with a briefcase. What are you guys talking about? He watches Disney with us. And they were just, everyone was in complete and utter shock. But Chris Evans plays kind of another, and this is a role that stepped out of his comfort zone. He played this guy that owns like an ice cream truck, and Michael Shannon's character kind of uses his ice cream truck to like hide bodies in it and all kinds of stuff. So Chris Evans is like, he has a kind of a Boston accent kind of thing, and he's like a dirty thug, and he's like this gross creepy guy that lives in an ice cream truck. Like it's very, very, you know, separated from what it usually does. So
what I'm thinking in my head is Paul Dano in Prisoners. Is he similar in that kind of creepy sense?
Not in that kind of creepy sense.
I mean, that creepy
Paul
sense
Dano
is
more of like
mentally
unstable. Chris Evans in Iceman is just a shitty guy.
Okay.
You know, he's almost like kind of like a shady drug dealer kind of guy.
Got it.
You know, and he's just connected with people that you wouldn't ever want to be connected with. And I need to rewatch the film. It came out in 2011, I believe. I think it's still on Netflix. That's where I found it, where I watched it.
It is, because I have it in my queue. Because you know what I did? I go on Netflix. I search Chris Evans. and then I put things into my queue.
I do that all the time with Tom Hiddleston. So I've watched random movies from like the BBC that he was in years ago before he was big, and I'm like, this movie is terrible, but I'm watching it because Tom Hiddleston is in it.
I need to do it again for Sylvester Stallone because I know like each month I have to go on and do it because there could be new ones. I'm just crossing my fingers that Cliffhanger will be there because I need to rewatch it. I feel like that's a movie I need to rewatch often.
Because we need to go on
action movie anatomy.
Yes, with our friends Ben and Andrew.
That's right.
And we're gonna do Cliffhanger
at some point.
It's
gonna happen.
Yep. So yeah, that's Iceman. I mean, it's
I do want to see that too.
Film. It's definitely not like a big, blockbuster or anything, or it's not like something that was in theaters for a long time, or like one of those Oscar baiting films, It's just kind of a smaller story, and it's just super dark and intense and Michael Shannon-esque, and so I love it, obviously.
When I used to do the Film Vault, this was one of the movies that I pitched, was the Iceman, before it came out. Like, would you guys want to see this? I don't remember what they said, but so I remember the premise, and I remember who was involved, but
it is great. Oh, and I think Ray Liotta is in it. Ray Liotta, excuse me.
I was like, who's Ray Liotta?
Ray Liotta's second cousin. No, I'm just kidding. Ray Liotta is in it as like kind of the mob boss type thing. Of course. I believe. Of course. So there's cameos by incredible actors in it. And oh gosh, someone's in this that plays a drug dealer that I'm like, holy it's David Schwimmer. He's in this. Man. He plays like a drug dealer, and his like girlfriend is like getting fucked up with coke, and like someone shoots her, like all this stuff, and you're like, David Schwimmer, what's happening? So yeah, he's in this too.
Whoa.
Yeah. That's exciting. Yeah, I need to rewatch it and make sure. #fake facts. I think David Schwimmer is in this.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. And he has some 70s sideburns and like a red leather coat. Oh, it's solid. It's solid.
Nice.
Yep. That's it.
All right, so one thing I dropped the ball on, and that is I forgot to tweet out and ask favorite, well, the thing is we usually do our first link, and it would have been like favorite Captain America movie, and then it would only be like three choices.
Yeah.
And it's so close to Civil War that people would probably be like, Civil War.
It does.
Okay, so, which is fine.
Yeah.
But, so anyways, I didn't do that. But I do have... We are going to do our Rocky scene, well as I do have the link to Kevin Bacon. Do we want to do that first?
Let's do that first, yeah.
Okay, the link to Kevin Bacon. Super simple here.
Okay.
Kevin Bacon was in Jane Mansfield's car with John Hurt, who was in Captain America Civil War.
There you go.
So there it is.
Perfect.
And now we're going to see, would Captain America Civil War be better with Sylvester Stallone as Rocky as Spider-Man?
Okay.
That's right. You heard it.
Yep.
So
we're going to do a nice simple scene. This is one of my favorite scenes in the movie. I love Tony Stark and Spider-Man together. I think that's great, and it's a lot of fun. So you're going to be playing Tony Stark, and I will be the precious little Spider-Man as Sylvester Stallone as Rocky. Okay.
You got a passport?
No.
Ever been to Germany?
No.
Oh, you're gonna love it there.
I can't go to Germany.
Why not?
Because I have homework.
Okay, I'm gonna pretend you didn't just say that. And scene.
There we go.
There it is.
There's probably even more lines that could be hilarious as that. But right now, that's what we have so far. Because the movie just came out, so, doing dialogue is hard. But yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Where can we find you, Stacy?
You can find me on Twitter at SOHoward2012 or on Instagram at StacyOHoward. Yep. On the social media chain. There you go.
There it is.
Yep. On the train that never stops, just like Snowpiercer.
Unfortunately. You can find me every goddamn day on Twitter at Miss Movies. And I'm sure my pictures are already out of the movie stills that I recreated. So,
she looks good, guys. She looks good.
It's all an illusion. All an illusion.
No,
friends.
you look amazing.
And I'm going to share my tips with you in just a moment.
Okay.
All right. So thanks for listening. We'll see you next time. Oh, you know what? We should, before we go, let's go run down our movies. Captain America Civil War.
Yep.
From there, we did Captain America movies with the First Avenger and Winter Soldier. From there, we both branched off and did Chris Evans on both of ours. And I talked about Snowpiercer as well as Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
And I talked Not Another Teen Movie and The Iceman.
So there you have it. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.
6 Degrees of Feature Film is produced by StacyOHoward and me. Special thank you to Ken Knapsack for our intro and Matt Brown for our artwork.